How's the house?
The house is good. We have an update. I guess we've essentially finalized everything. So we've gone through our inspections. We're moving forward with the mortgage and the appraisal. So that's exciting. And now it's just kind of countdown until we figure out what we do with listing our house and then kind of coordinating both. And yeah, so it's been interesting. Now I feel like we have something to kind of like move forward with. We're not
Hmm.
like waiting anymore. So
That's
yeah.
exciting. I'm like really excited to see the new house.
And I don't know if I shared this last time or not, but basically we had, because it will be a well and septic home on well and septic,
Hmm.
we had the home inspection and the well and septic inspection. And so the well and septic was delayed and extended until we were able to move forward. So we were kind of in like a 2 to 3 week waiting period before we could do anything.
Yeah, so now you're finally like, okay, we can move forward.
Yes, let's go.
That's exciting. I want to move, so I'm jealous of you.
It'll come.
I know
It'll
it'll come
happen.
eventually. I'll be there. Well, I have some news.
Yeah.
I graduated from PT.
You
I
graduated.
did graduate. Um,
Ooh.
so I went after giving birth. I had crazy back pain. And I had it the whole time, like after birthing Eleanor, but like it's gotten significantly worse as she's gotten heavier. So essentially, what I found out is I wasn't using my core muscles like I should. And
Mm.
so my butt muscles, my back muscles, they were all overcompensating, and even like some muscles in my abdomen area were also like overcompensating that weren't my abs. And so everything was just really tight. And so I kind of worked through workouts to re engage. I also have like a really bad pelvic tilt. And so I kind of like arch my back, like
Mhm.
pop out my hips a little bit. And so that is also causing stress. So I should be like pulling my pelvic in more. And so we've been working on all that, been working on like the correct way to like pick up Eleanor and go from like a sitting to a standing position, all of it, which was very difficult. Like, I didn't think it would be that difficult to learn or relearn how to move my body correctly, but it was, it was very, it felt unnatural. So I graduated. I mean, I'm still sore sometimes, but I have to just continue those workouts.
Well, that's good. That's helpful. I feel like I realized that after birth that I was always like, I guess it would be pushing my hips forward and kind of like sucking in your butt, right? Because that was
Oh,
kind of like how the weight was distributed when you were pregnant, like it was heavier in the front. And so I would always be flexing my hip forward to hold axle, and I had to start like retraining myself to stand where my hips weren't forward, and like I was actually like
oh,
staying
interesting.
straight.
So
I
you were
found
like
out.
opposite of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that
Like, kinda like
happens.
I would, like, turn in. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. And then they also told me I need to like switch sides holding Eleanor. Do you switch with Axel? Because my
Mm,
my right side's just not there.
I don't. He's always on my right side. I mean, sometimes, like, if I am standing in line really long and, like, then I'll switch him, but, like, I have that, like, fanny pack purse,
Yeah,
right? And so if I'm holding him, I put him on top of the fanny pack purse, kinda like the tush baby, but not really, because
yeah.
it just kinda helps lift him up a little bit more. So that helps with the weight
Yeah.
distribution because it pulls on here
Yeah,
too. But,
I
but
know.
yeah, no, I don't switch.
See, I always hold on the left because I'm so used to doing things with my right arm that I'm holding left and then I'm like engaging with my right. So it feels very odd to like switch her and do, but I've been doing that since the beginning. So my left side has grown in strength where my right side has not, and I have no upper body strength. So
You're getting there.
yeah, I'll need to work on that too. But yay, graduated. I can sleep in the mornings when it's not my morning to wake up with Eleanor. Yay.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so let's jump into this episode, thank you for listening to the Mom Era podcast. My name is Megan.
And I'm Alyssa.
Today we're talking about breast pumps. So, between us both, we have used 15 different pumps.
Too many. Too many.
Way too many pumps for us to feel comfortable about the one we were using because it is truly like trial and error to a point.
Yeah, and as we mentioned in the last episode, we both kind of ended up not necessarily exclusively pumping, but mostly pumping. So we tested and tried everything, and so we wanted to share with you what worked best for us, what didn't work best for us, and all the different types of pumps there are. But I think before we dig into the pumps, one of the things that was helpful for both of us is that we were able to get a pump through our insurance. So, not all, but some insurances may allow you to sign up on Aeroflow.
Yeah, that's the one I used. I think there are others.
I think there are a few others too, but Aeroflow is what I used. It worked with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you could sign up on their website. They essentially verify your information through your insurance, and they submit paperwork to your doctor. And once the doctor signs off, confirms basically that you're pregnant, and your due date, then they provide you with a list of extensive like breast pumps that are partially or fully covered. So that is something that we did not know until I think closer on to our due dates that we ended up ordering or looking into that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think for me, it was my algorithm on social media. So I was getting ads for it. And at first I was like, this can't be a real thing, but it
Is this
was.
real?
It was. No, it was really nice because depending on doctors, I know some doctors will wait to sign off, but my doctor did it very early. I think I was still in second trimester, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And they signed off early, and then I received my pump really early. And it was just really nice to get that out of the way and not have to think about it. But yeah, they did everything. I just got an extensive list, and it was still kind of overwhelming to look at pumps for the first time and be like, I have no idea. I have no idea which one to choose.
And then I just chose the same one that you
I
chose.
know. But yeah, Aeroflow and these types of companies can also facilitate replacement parts. You found that out.
hmm So I don't know if I saw it on social media or if I looked at my account because I was looking into, I don't know, something in insurance. And on the website, it also said that you could get compression socks. You had to pay the copay through my insurance, but I was eligible for compression socks too. And then they said that you're eligible for the replacement parts for up to 1 year. Now, some insurances may be different, but I was able to every 90 days call and get replacement parts for my Spectra pump that I ordered, and they were essentially free. It was like the Spectra brand. It wasn't like off brand, sometimes that you find on
Mhm.
Amazon, and that was fully covered through insurance too. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super nice, which I'm surprised Aeroflow didn't outwardly say, "Hey, this is an option for you," when they sent us the pump, which I wish they would have done because by the time you found out, I was already starting a new job and no longer had the same insurance.
They did send like a link to my phone. Like I had to be in, I remember specifically, like I hadn't gotten an email and I asked about it and they said that I had to be enrolled in a link
Mm,
where they text it to you like every 90 days and you can just click on that link and order.
yeah, very
So
easy.
I must not have been enrolled in something. So,
Yeah, yeah, same, same. Before we hop into the pumps, the 1,000 pumps that Alyssa and I had, I kind of want to just talk through the different kind of pumps. It can be categorized differently if you look online. What I found is that there are really four different categories. So the first is your silicone pump, and that's going to be the ones you generally use while you're nursing or even maybe pumping with a single electric where the silicone pump is catching the letdown. But you can also, I never use mine this way, but you can also kind of use your hand with the silicone pumps in a way to help facilitate a letdown. So an example of that was the Haka. And then
to
there's
like massage, you mean? Like massage out?
yeah, where you can kind of
Okay.
suction it. Yeah. I never That never worked for me.
Yeah, no.
And then there's manual pumps. So it's exactly what it sounds like. You're manually using your hand to pump. And then there's electric, which can be single or double. So single is just one breast at a time, and double, it's doing both breasts. And then you often hear hospital grade tossed around. When I was looking this up, it really only said it was just like a stronger.
Yeah, like the strong pumps.
Yes, it's a strong pump, it's a strong strength, but there's real no standard for this, and the Mandela Symphony was really the only one that I could get a read on as being categorized as a hospital grade. I think all the other pumps are completely fine, but I know some people get hospital grade and they rent it through the hospital and pay monthly for it, and I think insurance can't cover it, and a lot of times people do the hospital grade if they need a stronger suction medically or something of the sort.
When I was in my breastfeeding class, they had gone over like saying that you want a hospital grade pump and like was specifically saying some of the higher name brands like Adela, Spectra, and saying that they are a stronger pump. But there wasn't anything else specific that she added to that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then the last I would say is the wearable. Again, exactly what it sounds like. They're wearable, you could put them right in your bra and go and do it whatever you want, and it's usually pumping connected right to the cups. Um, so with that being said, let's dig into the pumps. I'm kind of excited.
Okay, so the first, I guess we'll cover like the silicone ones first. The Honka. Essentially, why we got it, or I got it, was so that you could attach it to the breast while you're breastfeeding and it catches the letdown. You can also like pump it to. I did not find success with this because the baby always knocked it off, or it was in the way because it was so big for me. So I did not use it at all, maybe one or two times. I don't know about you.
The Hakka, I used it until I found an alternative, which was longer than I admit. And I had a larger version and a smaller version. I don't know the exact sizes, but I remember the smaller version working better, but the suction was a little bit more painful than the larger version,
Mm.
and it was harder to knock off. But again, I agree with you. It wasn't my favorite. I would say the benefit of the Hakka over like a milk collector that we'll probably talk about next is that if you don't have a bra on, like, you can't really use the milk catchers because the Hakka suctions. The other ones suction, but they're also just sitting in your bra with your bra support.
And I used because I only had the large Honka, so that might have swayed my
Mhm.
decision and how I liked it. But I use the breast shell and milk catchers because it's just literally a plastic shell. It has a hole in the middle for your nipple. It's silicone, and then it has a pour out on the top. Some of them do offer like lids to like block that hole too. But essentially, they sat in my bra all day long. I utilized them a lot in the beginning because I would leak probably 1 to 2 ounces throughout the day. And so that is where instead of having to change my bra every 5 minutes, I was able
Mhm.
to use that. That was just comfortable. I never knew it was there. It didn't hurt me. It wasn't suctioning. It was just kind of sitting there catching any letdown or leakage I had during the day.
Yeah, I used the Boone Trove milk collector. So it was pretty big. I would just use it for nursing only, so I didn't have to like wear it throughout the day like you did as an overproducer. I just wore it while nursing, but it was much more comfortable. Eleanor couldn't knock it out; it sat in my bra. The only issue I really had is when like switching breasts when I was nursing. I would set it down on my little cart that I had near me, and then it wasn't very good at standing up, and, like, half the time I knocked it over. But I would say that's user error.
Yes. I also had a user error issue when we were traveling with Axel. We were 2 months. He was 2 months old, and we were traveling, and he did not have a good night the night before. So I think we had gone to bed at 2 a.m. and we had to be up at 3 a.m. to leave for the airport. So we get to the airport, whatever. He was just zonked out the entire day. Like, didn't want to
Mhm.
eat. And I had him on me to like get through security, get on the plane. Okay. 3, 4 hours had gone by, and then I'm like, okay, well, I got to move him so I can pump, because like
Yeah.
I was getting full. Well, I had the shells in. They were literally filled to the brim.
Oh,
Like I couldn't
no.
even get them out because when you take them out, that open area around your nipple, like they leak out. And so if you tilt it, also there's a pour at the top. And I was literally on the airplane in the middle row, like, Austin, you need to like hold this cup here so I can pour this in.
Oh,
Like,
no.
and then I dumped it all over my shirt. It was great. It's great. So pay attention to the fullness of the
How
shell.
full it's getting.
Yeah.
That was a problem I never had, but, I'm kinda glad at this point I never had
Yeah. Wasn't exactly fun.
that. I'll let you take over the manual pump because I know that really worked for you.
Yeah. So I didn't use it in the beginning, but I had heard all this great, wonderful rave again on social media, probably my algorithm, but about the Medela hand pump, and I decided I was going to try it out, and you know, I think it was only like $30, so I tried it out, and that worked so good for me. It was like 10 minutes, and I was able to completely empty, maybe 15 minutes at the most, but it was just a lot more practical when I'm on the move in the car or as I was traveling because we did travel with Axel. So I had the milk catcher in my bra on one side, and then I would use the hand pump on the other side and switch. And there's a top portion where you push down on the top, which is kind of mimicking the sucking of the baby. And then once you hit your letdown, then you basically hold it with your hand and just do longer pumps. I felt that it was stronger than the Honka from a manual perspective if I was going to be pumping
Mhm.
with the Honka. So I felt like it was super strong. I felt like it emptied me within 10 minutes. And it was just easy on the go carrying. I didn't need to make sure it was charged. I didn't have to plug it
Yeah.
into a wall. And so that was why I really liked that hand pump. I think you had a hand pump, not the Medela one, though.
I had it was a Medela one that I was given from the hospital, but it was
Oh,
different. So it wasn't the same as the one that you could buy in stores. So I used it because you said you had a lot of success with it. I was using it to see if I could mimic that success because I couldn't figure it out. And so I didn't like it. So then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to buy the one they sell in store because maybe they're different. I buy it, I try it, they're exactly the same. I also saw in my algorithm the trick. And from what I was seeing, I think it was massage, 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 massage. You start having a letdown and then you pull and hold for a
mm,
while and then let go and then all this milk would come out. It would work for me for maybe 2 pulls and then it would stop. And the massage I think really didn't work on me and it was hard for me to hold the manual pump and then also massage my breast myself because that was a big part of me having letdowns. And so it was just I think having to do all of that in tandem didn't work out for me. So I know a lot of people have success with the hand pump. It was not for me specifically.
yeah. Yeah, and it's one of the things I think I had recommended to my sister because I think it would be better off. And in the beginning, again, everyone's different, but in the beginning, I felt like that would have been more helpful just catching the colostrum and like the little milk that did come out
Mhm.
instead of trying to hook up a whole system um, while I was in the hospital. But again, I didn't know about it then. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they gave it to me in the hospital. Well, they it's interesting because they brought it prepackaged and I didn't open it. Nobody specifically handed it to me, but it was in my room. So I took it home. Because that's one thing somebody told me. They're like, take as much as you can home. So we did. So I didn't try it until I got home. I couldn't anyways because I needed an insert for it for like the sizing.
mm,
Because I don't think they sell different sizes in that.
no, I think it's only a 24. I remember I had to get the inserts for it.
Yeah.
And I think the like buying the different size flanges, it was like 24 and 28. So there
Yeah.
wasn't. very many options. Yeah.
No, yeah. So I didn't try it till I got home, but I think it's good in like having full control over, pumping versus when you're using a machine, you're kind of relying on the machine and its ability to do it. But it's interesting how everybody responds differently to the pumps.
Yeah, I really liked it in the beginning. As I was getting to a point where I was starting to wean, I was having a harder time getting my letdown with it.
Hmm.
So I had retired the Medela hand pump at one point.
Also, that was it was tiring. It was tiring using that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
Hurt your hand.
it did. Okay, so let's move into electric pumps. So I know we both got the Spectra, the S2. So that was the pink
Yes.
one. I think if I got to get it again, I'd probably get the blue one because you
Yes,
can
I would get the blue.
you can charge and take it away from the wall, which would have been nice, but we didn't get that one unfortunately.
You would think that that would be like the S2, the newer version, but I guess it's called the S1, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, my friend was carrying it around with her and she had the blue one and I'm like, "How are you not plugged into the wall? What are you what?" She's like, "Oh, you can charge it and take it with you." Like, "Whoa. Wish I could have would have known that."
This would have been nice. So this was the first pump I got, and this is the one I primarily used for
Mhm.
a long time because it was the only pump I had until I started buying other ones. And I would say there's a learning curve to the Spectra. And the learning curve is essentially learning how and when you need to move from the massage mode to the express mode. And then also when you need to increase the power. For me, it was kind of difficult to read the screen because it had numbers. It would be like 70. And I'm like, what does that even mean? I still don't even know if I know what that means, but I just like learned the combinations that worked for me.
Yeah, yeah. I It was very confusing that they had so many modes and specific modes were stronger than others and what each mode stood for. I pretty much went between like two or three modes in massage mode. But that was only after you had showed me
Hmm.
like samples of how people like put write out what to do with that and like the numbers you should use and then I researched more on my own and kind of
Hmm.
tested it out. But yeah, that was confusing at first.
Yeah, it was. And what worked for me for the Spectra is I would be on massage mode for like 2 minutes. My letdown would start, and then I would start low in the polling. I don't remember the exact numbers. I could probably look it up, but I would start low, and then as a minute would go by, I would go higher and higher and higher, and then once milk stopped coming, I'd restart it all over, and
Yeah.
I would do that for 30 minutes.
Yeah. I only pumped like 20 minutes probably unless I was trying to power pump just because I was an
Yeah.
overproducer. So I didn't want to produce too much more than what I was. But the Spectra, I would say I really liked the pieces to it, like the pump
Yes,
pieces. They were
agreed.
easy to clean, easy to use,
Easy to
um,
replace, which
easy to
some other
replace.
ones were not.
Yes.
Yeah, because your pump parts you do have to replace. I think monthly is what they suggest,
Hmm.
and some pumps don't make that particularly easy. So I really liked that as well. I liked the Spectra S2 pump. I liked it a lot. My biggest pet peeve was being attached to the wall, and I think also, I thought I was an underproducer, and that kind of led me on this hunt to find a different pump.
Hmm.
Luckily, it did because I did find one I think that worked a little bit better for me, but I think I would have been absolutely fine with the Spectra from the beginning had I been like informed about my body and how much production is normal.
I would say though, it is the bulkiest
It's
one,
very bulky. You're right.
but it has a cup holder.
Did you ever use that? Like did it even fit the cup?
I used it for my nipple butter. My nipple butter sat in it
Oh, nice.
because I had the Mama's Earth one or whatever, so it just fit right in there.
One more note about the Spectra. You could use it as a single or a double. So it is a double electric pump, but you could like close one of the pumping sides, and people often said it could give you more power if you did single because you're not using the electric whatever to do both. So it was all going to one. I tried it, but I didn't really see a difference. And it was more of a hassle to have to pump 30 minutes on one side and then switch and do 30 minutes on the other side. It was just way too long, especially being attached to the wall.
Yeah, I never tried just one, but I could see where, yeah, because you can close it.
Hmm.
I also saw, like, this is just kind of crazy, but I saw, like, that the Frida baby booger sucker
Oh,
thing. Like,
yes.
people would hook the Spectra thing like up to
To
that
suck their baby's
so
boogies?
that it would suck the boogers out, so you don't have to do it with your mouth. So I was, I was like, oh, okay.
What? That honestly, I'm like kind of interested. I have all my stuff packed away right now, but sometimes sucking
I
the
mean,
boogies
yeah, if you really got to get in there, and it's a lot of work to suck it out. So,
that is funny. That is really funny. Okay, next one, the Zomi. This one's my favorite. The ZS, double electric pump. So we both have that one too.
hmm
It came with its own collectors and flanges. I did not like the pieces as much as I liked the Spectra. It had this weird rubber around the flange. It also had, I don't know what to call it, but it was like this
the
dome.
yeah, the thing that goes up and down with the
Yes.
air, not the ducks, because
Yeah, not
that's
the duck bills, but it was like their equivalent of the duck bill.
hmm
Yeah. And those pieces were a pain in the butt. And I did not like it. So I honestly didn't like never used the Zomi pieces. I just used it with the Spectra. But Zomi was my favorite, my absolute favorite. It was small. It had different settings and it had auto settings. So for example, if I automatically pressed the massage setting, it would start the massage at level 1 and then automatically increase to level 10. And it just my body took to it really well, and then it had all these different settings where it would do like a massage, massage, pull, massage, massage, pull, and I could switch through all of these, and I was emptying much sooner than I was with the Spectra, with the hand pump, with anything else. So I wasn't necessarily producing more, I was just able to have shorter pumps.
I would agree with that because you raved about this for the longest time, and one of the things that I liked about it was that you could put it around your neck.
Yep.
So I mean, it was smaller, but it necessarily wasn't super small
Mhm.
like the button and controls, but it could go around your neck. And I was hesitant to get it at first because, like, I really liked the wearable where you can just put it in and go instead of like having to still be attached. But I agree with you. I tried to use the parts that it came with, and it was just not strong enough for me. So I used the Spectra parts, and what Megan had told me, because I did not know how to attach the Spectre part. But essentially, you just pull, there's like a little blue end on the air cords that comes off the Zoomy, and you attach it to the Spectre part, just like you
Mhm.
would attach the regular Spectre pieces to the air. That one I really liked. It emptied me, and I used it basically through the end. I felt it was very, very strong in the beginning.
Yes, you always said
So
that.
I, like, when I first started using it, I was like, "Oh my word, how does Megan do this?" But it emptied me in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was my favorite. The only issue I had with it is there weren't buttons per se. It was like a touch screen. I don't know if you had this issue. And because I'd wear it around my neck and do things, it would constantly hit or it would turn over. So it was like on my chest. And it didn't matter what touched it. It would do whatever button it was touched. You know how sometimes on your iPhone, like it doesn't work unless it's your finger. Well, it doesn't
Mhm.
have that. And so anything that touched it would change it. Or sometimes I would accidentally turn on the light and I'm doing stuff and then it would die because it was like, the light had been on forever. So that's my only thing I wish they would change, but otherwise, that one was my favorite pump by far.
The issue I had with that is I would accidentally be turning it up all the time. So I
Yeah.
would be sitting there and it would go up, and I'd be like, "Ow, oh my god, where's it?" So, yeah.
Yep, yep. It looks like the other two electric pumps were mine. So I bought the Pumpables Genie Advance. I bought this late in the game. I was like, I don't want to say very close to being done, but I was further enough along in my journey where I probably shouldn't have purchased it, and I already love the Zomi, but I was getting so many ads, so I was influenced 1,000% to buy this thing, and I was mostly really interested in trying it because the actual flange on it was different. So, trying to think the best way to explain it. So, like, all the other flanges were primarily plastic and they would just
Mhm.
sit, it would get suctioned or whatever. What the pumpables did is it was like silicone, and that's kind of what moved when it was pumped. So I think it looked like it kind of imitated the mouth of the baby and actually
Mhm.
pulling. And so I was really interested because people were saying this is the only pump that worked for me. And I was, again, still kind of in this mindset that I can and should be producing more, even though I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm fine and this is the amount of producing. But it was always in my head. I was kind of like in this obsessed like headspace where I always wanted more. And so I bought it and I tried it. I would say you could also use Spectra pump pieces
Mm.
with it,
Okay.
which I did a few times. It was nice because, like the Zomi, it was very portable. But I would say it was very similar to the Spectra, but it was more portable and it was smaller.
Mm. Okay.
And then I got the Even Flow Advanced Single Electric. Now, that one, I would never have bought it, but I had gone to my parents' house and I completely forgot all my pumping stuff. And I live about an hour, hour and a half away. And so there was really no option for me to not pump, and I can't hand express. I tried. And so I had to run to Target and find the cheapest option. And they didn't have any hand pumps that day.
Of
So I
course.
bought this one. I'll never use it again. I used it the one time while I was there, and it's kind of interesting because it's all in a contraption that attaches right to your boob, and it's kind of big. It really didn't work for me, but I needed an insert for the flange, and I didn't have it, but it did the deed for the moment.
It worked. I'm pretty sure we all have had those types of situations where you're somewhere and you're like, I need a pump. And that's how I ended up with two Medela hand pumps
Yeah.
because that's what Meyer had. But yeah.
I know, and then I always was like, "I'm gonna keep one in her backpack or in the car," but then you'd use it and then forget to put it back.
Yeah. And you have to keep them clean and sanitized all the
Mhm.
time. So yeah.
Yep.
So the next pumps that I had were wearables, and I had quite a few. I had the Mom Cozy M5 wearable breast pump. It is like glorified online, looks fancy. I would say that it actually does a good job. I like the size of them because it's again a wearable pump that you insert into your bra, but it's like smaller. A lot of the pumps like tend to stick up like a big block on the top of the shell, and this one was like built in, so it was all a circle, all part of the shell. And I really liked that one. It was strong enough to where I could use it on the go. I liked just the setup of it, and it did the job. Like it wasn't like my strongest pump, it wasn't a weakest pump. It worked well. I didn't have any issues with it. I think it was good for being a wearable pump. The S12, Mom Cozy S12. So these are very similar, I would say. The main difference between them for me was the style of where the actual like battery pump was. So the S12 was a square on top where the M5 was within the circle. So that
Mhm.
was really the main difference to me. They almost had the exact same settings, almost the exact same strength, and very similar pieces. So there wasn't really I like this one better than that one. They both worked good. I favored the Mom Cozy M5. The Fanapy E Shine wearable pump. This was one that was $20
Mhm.
that I found online, and it was just a basic little wired pump. So it was wearable, but it had the cords for the air, and it went inside your bra. It had a little like battery pack, and on this battery pack like would tell you like good job, so happy for you at like the 10,
I
20
love
minute
that.
mark. And I was like, okay, here we go. But that one was like a decent pump from a strength perspective, a durability perspective, and like lasted for being $20 on Amazon. So I would recommend that one. Would I say it's my favorite? No. But from a like a budgeting perspective, and if you need like a cheap wearable pump, that one is good. Man, I have a lot of pumps I used.
Mhm.
Then I want to say I had two different versions of the Bella Baby wearable pumps. So Megan, you had the Bella Baby wearable. It's like a white
Yep.
top on the breast pump. It's more square. I think that one worked out for you.
Yep.
That one did not work out for me. Every time you detached the battery pack off the top, the plastic part would break off of the shell. And so then it would stop the suction for me. So I ended up returning that one like less than a month I had it. It was already broken. And I got the Bella Baby wearable, the pink one. It's more of a circular battery on the top and it's touchscreen instead of buttons. That one was also very budget friendly pump and it did the job. So I liked it, but it was very heavy on the top. So compared to the Mom Cozy, those ones were a lot lighter.
Mhm.
And the Bella Babies had a heavier battery pack on the top. So you'd kind of find yourself like holding your bra up when you're bending around or
Yes.
moving around.
Yep.
But I'm gonna let you talk about the Bella Baby one before I go into
Okay.
the other.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did. I had the Bella Baby, the wearable white breast pump. It was very affordable. I think Amazon kind of got me because I think there was a certain price for it, but they made it seem like it was like very steeply on sale, and so I was like, "Oh, I gotta get this." I liked it and it worked for me. Again, it had those like settings where it could massage and then pull and then just kind of like do it on its own. And my breast like really needed the change up every so often. So that really worked for me. Honestly, it was the only wearable that I had that I could really use and then feel empty. I didn't have the issue where it broke like yours did, but I also didn't use it unless I was, like, going out or it was, like, the only one charged or so I
Mm,
didn't use it as, like, a regular pump. I would say parts-wise, it was, like, really annoying to clean. There was just a lot of parts. You had to, like,
yeah.
pull the silicone off, and then there was all these little parts on the inside, and the duck bill was so tiny, I was always afraid of losing it. So parts-wise, it was kind of a pain in the butt, but for me, it was the wearable that worked best for me.
Yeah, I would say that about a lot of the wearable breast pumps. Like they have the smaller duck bills, they have the smaller silicone piece on the
Mhm.
inside, and then you have your flange insert, and it's all just kind of small, so they can get lost easily. I would say of the wearable pumps, the Mom Cozy M5 and was my favorite, plus this Medela Freestyle hands-free pump. It basically had a battery that you connected the cords to, and they inserted in your bra. It was again shaped kind of like the Mom Cozy M5, where it was very oval around your boob instead of like something bulky sticking out or sitting on top, because it just didn't fit well in my bra if it was
Yeah.
super bulky. So this one was really nice. I could use it when I was working, and you couldn't even see what I was doing while I was in a meeting if I was pumping. So that one was very nice. It is very, very pricey though. And from the time that I ordered it to the time I ordered an additional set of cups, they changed the style of the cup. And so the change in the style of the cup, you basically have to insert this like piece to like connect the cord to the cup. And it didn't connect very snug on the new cups. So that caused the suction to be less, which then caused me not to like the new cups as much. So again, I figured it out over time. I had to really push it in there to get it to connect, but that was probably one of the things that I didn't like about it. It was very easy, like the Spectra pieces though, where it had like two pieces for the cup and it had one yellow like insert for the duckbill and everything on the inside, so it was attached and you didn't have to like have a bunch of little pieces that were getting lost and clear because that one was yellow and you could find it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I really liked that one. That one and the M5 were my two favorite of the wearable pumps.
Yeah, I had one more wearable pump. So I bought the LV pump. I had the double and I bought it before I was even pregnant. I was changing jobs and I had the FSA funds, and so I bought it. I mean, it's very pricey, very, very pricey. I would not have paid that out of pocket if I did not have the FSA funds. And I would say I liked this pump the least. There were a few things I liked about it. It sat well in my bra. It was kind of like you were explaining, where they were kind of just like cups and the motors were built into the cup. So there was nothing sitting, like the blocked electric piece wasn't sitting on top of the pump like it was for the Bella baby. So it was very seamless. You kind of put it in. The problem I had with the LV is that it only worked like 50% of the time.
Mm.
And I don't know why. I would put it in one bra, it would be fully charged, and I would look at it 20 minutes later and there was like nothing there. And on the other breast, there was some. So it was just very interesting. It just was hit or miss. And for the expense of the pump, I expected it to be like one of my favorites. I was really excited to use it. I didn't use any wearables for a long time because they tell you in the beginning to not, because it could mess up your production. And so I didn't. And so when I did try it, I was very, very disappointed, especially in the amount of money I spent. The only other thing I partially liked about it was the pieces. There weren't a ton of like weird pieces that I had to clean. It was honestly like my insert and the collector. If I remember correctly, there wasn't much else to clean, but it just did not work for me. I was really disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this was a good like kind of overview. Again, we're not trying to like bash the companies or the pumps that all the pumps that we went over, but like to outline our favorites, why they're our favorites, why some didn't work for us. They might work for you, but this is what we came across in our pumping journey. I
Hmm.
think there are a lot of other factors that kind of help your pumping journey and some other topics that we wanted to quickly dive into, but I think one of those topics is flange inserts. And so I did not know this until I had talked to you. I thought I was going to have to buy like the separate flange pieces for each individual pump, for each like
Hmm.
on my size every time. And you do not have to do that. There is something called like a silicone flange insert that you can get at your size, and most of them go into 24 size flange, which is what most breast pumps are made up
Hmm.
of. Either
Yep.
24 or 28, I think, are the main ones that they make. So yeah, so that was really nice that you told me that, because then you just buy a pack of flange inserts and you can pretty much use every pump without having to buy separate flanges.
Hmm. Another thing I bought was the massager.
Mm.
I think mine was Mom Cozy, and it really just vibrated and got warm. I would sometimes use it. I liked the warm, but I don't think the massage really did anything to like stimulate. I had to like use my hand to massage for it to work. Did you use one of those?
I did. I had really, I want to say like maybe borderline mastitis. I don't know. Like in the beginning, it was really hard. Like I went through a period of time where I'm like, what is going on? Like, am I getting mastitis? And so the massager helped when I had, it felt like clogs, but I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah.
Uh, and the heat worked, but like I would rather just put my heat
Hmm.
bag on there because it's so small. So I ended up having to ice my breasts a lot to help with that instead of using the massager.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it could be beneficial to have if you need it, but if you don't want to spend the money, I wouldn't say that it's like a must have.
Yeah, I agree. I did buy breast pumping bras and breastfeeding bras.
Me too.
And there was a pack on Amazon. I think it was a bulk pack of breastfeeding bras that I ended up using. The breast pumping bras, they most of them have where they come apart in the middle and there's like a cover over it, or you drop down like a breastfeeding bra and you can do one or both or whatever. Um, I found it very difficult to insert my flange into that slit on the
Yeah.
breastfeeding bra or breast pumping bra without like spilling everything everywhere
Yep.
when you take it out. So I had used the breastfeeding bras and basically like unclipped it, put it on, and then like wrapped my clip around the flange and just clipped it back up. So that was my hack, and it worked. It kept it tight, didn't move. But that is something that I felt like I was going to have to buy 15 breast pumping bras, and I didn't.
Yeah. It took me a minute to find ones that I liked as, like, a bigger breasted woman. I really like the Kindred Bravery. I think that
Yeah,
was the
you told me
brand.
you liked those ones.
And I primarily bought the pumping ones,
Okay.
so I didn't have an issue with the slit. Sometimes I still would have to hold them up because they didn't always, like, keep it snug, but otherwise, I really didn't have any issue. The one thing I did wanna bring up that I really liked was the Series Chill. It's kind of pumping related, but not. We still use it to this day, so if you're unfamiliar with it, it kind of looks like a thermal water bottle, but there's an
Mm.
insert for the milk, and then you put ice in there, and it keeps everything cold for a long period of time. And what's also nice is that you can attach your Spectra pieces to it and pump directly into the Series Chill. So if you're
Oh,
on
I
the
didn't
go and you
know.
need to keep it cold, yeah, you can just pump right into it and then you're good to go. We primarily used it for travel, so we would put breast milk. Right now we're putting milk in it, so then if we need to use it, it keeps it cold for I think it says 12 hours, but we've seen it last way longer than that. It's not cheap. I think it's like $70 if I remember correctly, but super worth it in my opinion.
I remember you brought that over to my house, and I was like, "Oh, what is this? This is cool."
Mhm.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just carrying around a huge, heavy cooler with me.
Yes, you did.
So go with Megan's advice. In my cooler, I had always put like regular ice packs because why was I going to spend money on the bottle ice packs, you know? Well, I did end up buying them like later on in my pumping journey, and that was like a life changer. Just keeping that ice pack, it was super cold and it fit like the bottle piece. So instead of just keeping like the top of the bottle cold or the bottom of the bottle cold, it was
Mhm.
like basically the whole bottle. And you could put multiple bottles on each side. It kept them straight up and down. So
Ooh.
they did not flip, right? So I really, really liked that. And then I did end up caving and buying like the freezer organizer where you can put the frozen breast milk bags in
Oh,
the
mhm.
container and like just pull a new one out. It was nice from a storage perspective because when you put them in your freezer, they just kind of sit everywhere. So if you have
Yeah.
a container you can put them in, do I think you need the specific breastfeeding container that keeps it flat? No, you can get any sort of container to put them in. It's just easier.
I wish I would have done that because I think one of the reasons that contributed to us not using the breast milk is it's kind of all over our freezer. I still need to pull it out because we haven't
What?
used it. I wasn't very organized. I'd made blocks, and
Yeah.
then at the end, there were a few that weren't put into blocks, so, like, the blocks are all gone because those were easy to pull out of my freezer, but I need to deep clean it and pull out some breast milk that we're
Hmm.
no longer using.
Oh, I was like OCD about that. As soon as like I had enough to put it in a bigger bag, I did, and yeah, because there my freezer is like my fridge is two doors, so like it's really skinny in my freezer, and I don't have a lot of extra space.
Same, I'm the same, but I wasn't organized.
That's a first for you.
I know. I can't with my fridge and freezer, to be honest. I organize it, and then it's unorganized the next week, and it drives me wild. Yeah, so this was our episode on pumps. If you have any questions about any of the pumps we used or our tips and tricks, you can comment or you can send us an email at momerapodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Anything to add?
What mom era are you in this week?
Oh, yeah, my mom era. We're in the diaper rash mom era, and I've
Oh
been in
no.
this era for a very long time. We have chronic diaper rashes. I don't know if it's the teething. I don't know if she just has yeasty poop or what it is, but we have gone through so many different trials and errors to get her butt good because it'll be fine and then 2 days later, it's not, and then it's not for, like, a week, it feels like, and then it'll be fine for, like, 2 days, so we have very minimal days where it's a good. Our pediatrician had, suggested that we buy, like, this eczema therapy, it's from Aveeno Baby,
Hmm.
that you pour into the bath, and it's kind of like a soak for them, and it's supposed to help with, like, rashes, things like that, so We've done that twice now, and it seemed to help. But poor baby, we need to take her, I think, to the pediatrician and see what else we can do because it's just so painful for her, and I
I
feel very bad.
wonder if you could take any of your frozen breast milk left over, and if
Ooh,
that would be a relief because it would be cold. Like, obviously, it'd probably be
yeah.
super cold, maybe, like, let it cool out warm up a little bit, but that might be good on her butt
Ooh,
too.
I'm gonna try it. This is why I haven't cleaned out.
Instead of throwing it out, yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, my pediatrician was very much like everything. Axel had a goopy eye, I want to call it tear duct, black tear duct, and she's like, put breast milk in it. Anything I asked, put breast milk on it, put breast milk on it. So that's always my first like, should I put breast milk on it?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
But I am in my crazy hair mom era, I
I
guess.
love his hair.
Literally every I don't know what he does, but he sleeps so hard and so crazy that like his hair is just sticking out of the side of his head, sticking up like usually after bath night, it's crazy. Last night was not bath night. Today, his hair is sticking out the side of his head and like curled in multiple different ways. And he has just kind of because of the way his hair came in, it always stuck up. He's just kind of always had stick me up hair, we call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just stick me up hair boy. So
Solidarity, because we're in the same boat. But we have the issue. Do you have this issue where she sleeps? Because she is a back sleeper. So where she sleeps, it's like very. You could tell the hair's like broken. It's kind of like what it your hair looks like if it's dead at the ends, where it's like
mm,
crinkly. And so she has that kind of in the back, even with the regrowth, because if she was bald there for a while. But her hair is obviously growing back, but she still sleeps on her back. And so it's just all messy. After she takes a bath, it's fine. It's like cute and curly, but after she sleeps, it's immediately. She
yeah.
must be a mover or something. I don't know.
Well, Axel used to sleep on his back like that, and so we do have like a little bit. You can see the regrowth, but it's almost like back to normal now because this
Mhm.
boy sleeps with his head down and his butt in the air. Like
Oh
he
my
will
gosh.
he will fall asleep, and within 10 minutes he's on his stomach with his butt in the air, his
That is
head
so
down.
cute, though. How is that comfy?
I don't know. I literally was talking to Austin yesterday, and I was like, does he need a pillow? Like, like, why is he sleeping like that? That looks so uncomfortable. So,
Crazy
yeah, I
babies.
don't know. When do you give your baby a pillow? Like at 2? I don't know.
I researched it once, and I think you can give it to them. Is it 2 or 3? But I know they for sure have to be out of the crib
Mm, okay.
into a
Interesting.
toddler bed. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we hope you have a good week.
Alrighty. Bye.